Hi, and welcome to episode 7 of Anniversary Edition. Today, we're going to be talking about Beetlejuice, which celebrates its 30th anniversary this year. So, usual spoiler alerts, we are definitely going to be spoiling this movie. So, if you haven't seen it, go watch it and then join us again. So, I'm here today with Tom.
Hello.
Kieran.
Hello.
And Adam.
Hi.
So, a little intro into the movie. It was released in 1988, and the synopsis on IMDb is a recently deceased husband and wife commission a bizarre demon to drive an obnoxious family out of their home. Fairly accurate?
Fairly accurate, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it goes rather deep into the plot line.
It does, yeah.
It's about an hour-ish in.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I liked about it, actually, was that core idea that the dead have an exorcist they can call on to get rid of the living.
Yeah. It's fun, isn't it? Yeah.
It's nice touch. So when did everyone first see this movie? Tom, when did you see this movie first?
I can remember knowing about this movie when it came out, being a kid. I can remember kids in the playground running around shouting Beetlejuice 3 times.
Not shooting Beetlejuice.
I lived in a rough area. So I can remember knowing about it. I can remember seeing trailers for it, thinking it looks like a horror movie. I'm not that interested, and I never bothered watching it. So I probably didn't see it until late teens, early 20s, maybe even mid-20s.
Okay.
I watched it once, and then I watched it again about 2 weeks ago now for the podcast.
Okay. Kieran, how about you?
Like Tom, I've been aware of it since I was a kid. I have friends who are fans of this, and I watched it for the first time last night.
Okay.
I'd never seen it.
Night.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd never seen it before.
Ooh.
I knew bits of it, but
Okay.
I hadn't seen it all the way through until last night.
Were you excited to watch it?
I was intrigued. I don't know about excited. I'm a fan of other Tim Burton films.
Okay.
I like Michael Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was interested to see it after all this time.
Okay. Adam, when did you first see this?
I saw it when I was a young kid. I had the action figures and everything. They had like a shrunken head man action figure. But I can't have watched it when it came out. So I must have had the action figures before I'd seen the movie.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Because they wouldn't have stocked the action figures for that long, but at the same time, I wouldn't have watched it when I was,
You'd have only been about 4 or 5 when this reached the cinemas,
I'd have been
right?
tiny.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But yes, as far as I can remember in watching films, I have always seen Beetlejuice.
Okay.
So I will have seen it when I was very young.
Okay. Thoughts, Kieran? I'm coming to you first. So you first saw this.
Are you absolutely sure?
I'm absolutely sure. Overall thoughts,
Strap yourselves in.
just top line.
I absolutely hated it.
Okay.
I absolutely hated it.
Wow. Everything about it.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, no, I was all right with it for a while, and then it stopped making any kind of sense to me. And then Michael Keaton showed up doing proto Jim Carrey stuff, and I hate Jim Carrey with a passion. I couldn't wait for it to end. I think I fell asleep at one point.
Oh my God.
Wow.
A guy ends up with one of the main characters ends up with a plaster on his head at some point, and I couldn't recall that happening, and had no desire to rewind to find out why.
Okay.
I found Michael Keaton intensely irritating. My final note is, oh God, I hated this film, and I'm usually fine with Tim Burton.
Wow. Okay. Okay, Tom, what about you?
I kind of feel the same as Kieran.
Wow, okay.
I don't think I hate it as much as him.
You're even wearing a bit of a Beetlejuicy jumper today.
You kind of are.
I thought you were on side.
Inverted. No.
Hommage.
I was going to wear the Enter the Dragon t-shirt you gave me when we recorded that one.
Yeah. I like that this movie got made. I like that this film exists, and I'm like, it's just not for me. It's not my cup of tea. I just don't really like that kind of. I'm not a massive fan of Tim Burton movies.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple that I think are all right, but I don't know. It doesn't resonate with me at all. So, like, if I didn't see it again, it wouldn't bother me.
Same
really.
here. There were some things in it I did like,
Yeah.
but overall, and once I got past the first hour, I couldn't stand it. I think it was once Michael Keaton showed up.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I wouldn't go so far as to say I hate it. I just don't really like it. Didn't really like it.
Okay, Adam, top line, thoughts?
This is the most Tim Burton live-action Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
He really is allowed to just go wild on this film, and it.
I definitely think he matured after this because he made Batman only the next year,
Yeah.
and that's much. Well, I guess you would have to be under with DC and Warner Brothers breathing down your neck, but he's much more reined in with that.
Yeah, Beetlejuice is the worst thing about Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you all seem to kind of be in agreement about that.
I'm not a fan of Michael Keaton's performance here at all. He's not the worst actor in this film. Unfortunately, I think the worst performance in this film goes to Alec Baldwin, who is just so barely there.
I have a feeling he didn't really want to do it.
I've definitely got that feeling. He was so barely there in his performance. He was just sort of reading the lines and running around a little bit. But sticking him next to Gina Davis, who was kind of feeling it a little bit, made him look pretty shocking. I thought the film was... Sorry, I should do my top line like I promised I would.
We're at least 5 lines in now.
Mixed.
Okay.
It's a fun production with some bad performances.
Okay. So...
Are we just like crapping on something that you love?
Yeah,
no, not
what
at
did you
all.
think
I was going to
about
say,
this?
I didn't actually say. I first saw this movie like, oh gosh, maybe 10 years ago, something like that. I was at a house party and it was like the end of the night and everybody was kind of knackered, but we put it on because everybody was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you've never seen this movie. It's amazing. And I fell asleep. So...
I'm surprised that 2 people have fallen asleep watching this film, because you can say a lot of things about it, but boring isn't one of them.
I know, it's not
Yeah,
subtle.
I think I understand why Kieran did though, because like obviously I was probably tired at the time, but for me, like the first hour, I was kind of like, what's going on? What's happening? This is like, is this interesting to me? And then I was just sort of like, oh yeah, no, it's not. So I just fell asleep.
I kept thinking of better ways they could do things and better ways they could take the story and more sensible. Sensible's not the right word. More logical ways they could take the story.
Yeah. Well, I watched it again last night ahead of this, and I didn't fall asleep. Yes,
Yay.
growth.
Congratulations.
Thanks everyone. But I didn't. Yeah, I didn't love it. It's got to be said.
Wow. So this is the opposite of Jurassic Park episode,
I know,
isn't it?
it's really weird, isn't it? I mean, because I think that it was so weird. It's one of these movies. I sit there and I watch it, and I'm just like, that's a great idea. Like, it's a good concept.
It's a great concept.
Oh,
yeah.
I can kind of see what they're doing with the aesthetic of this. That's really quite cool. And then just you put all of those things, everything starts coming together, and you're just like, why am I not feeling it? Why aren't I liking this? Why does it not connect to me?
Because there are no stakes.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want them out of the house, but nothing's going to happen to them other than personal discomfort if they don't.
Yep.
Also, your lead characters are dead.
Yep. Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Why do we not want him out?
Yeah, exactly. And like looking back on it in a like 2018 view of 1980s, like he's creepy in not in a horror way, in a predatory sexual way.
The
first thing he does is sexually assault Gina Davis.
Yeah.
More than once.
And it's like that feels really uncomfortable now. Like it like, I mean,
it is really uncomfortable. That was apparently reined in. So originally the original concept was for him to be more
Jesus.
and a real horror, like horrifying threat, especially to like the women in the house. And yeah, it was rewritten and rescripted and became a comedy.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, it's...
I can't imagine it amped up because Keaton is already swinging for the fences here.
Yeah. He could not have gone any bigger on this if he tried.
Yeah.
When he first shows up, it's him looking at him. You see the back of his head, and he's looking at a newspaper, and he's like, "Oh, I better find a job. Business section. What do I got here?" He sounds like an evil
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Well, he's watching it now as well. it was verging on. I know you said like you hate Jim Carrey, but so the Grinch, when Jim Carrey's in that, it was bordering on that kind of.
It put me in mind of The Mask,
Yes,
but no fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very.
I was
like,
expecting him to yell, "Somebody stop me!" at some point.
Yeah.
Someone please
they
stop
should
him.
have.
Oh, I was begging for him to be stopped.
Yeah. So we all kind of don't like it.
I'm mixed on it.
Okay.
I'm not going to
Mixed,
say I
okay.
don't like it
Okay.
because I think there's a lot of production design flair in this film that is laudable.
Okay.
Well, it's the thing. I can say I can appreciate a lot of things about this movie, but I can still say I don't like it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there's a
You know
difference
what I mean?
between
So
appreciation
you
and
touched on
liking
something, Tom, that you said it's good that it got made, and it is.
Yeah.
It's a completely original idea.
it. Yeah.
It was. Is this Burton's only second or third film? Because he wasn't. He wasn't.
It's quite an early one. Yeah.
He wasn't far into his career here.
No.
You're taking it's Hollywood taking a chance on a new director, putting name actors in it, and you're taking a chance on something,
Which they would
completely
not do
original
nowadays.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, again, it's the whole Who Framed Roger Rabbit stuff that we were talking about with that. That
Yeah.
it's a unique thing.
Yeah.
And it seems to be that the 80s was one of those few periods where decent budgets, comparatively, were given to movies like this that were just completely bonkers.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at this, if you look at like how he would pitch this movie, that's a big risk. Who's going to go around and say, "There, that's definitely going to be a hit"? I
Yeah.
mean, no
Yeah.
one is.
Well, it's got an estimated budget of 15 million on IMDb, but
That went all on cast, I bet.
yeah, and it grossed 73.7 million. It made it the 10th biggest grossing film of 1988. Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
I read that. I was like, "Ooh, really?"
Well,
How big of a star was Alec Baldwin at the time? How big of a deal was Michael Keaton? Because Keaton hadn't been Batman yet.
Oh, but he'd been in other stuff before.
Yeah.
Michael
He was
Keaton.
Like Night
He was-
Shift.
Name.
Yeah, Michael
Yeah.
Keaton was an A-lister. Alec Baldwin on the rise. Gina Davis probably was established, certainly.
Yeah.
It's a solid cast, and
Yeah.
I wanted to note that some of the casting, Michael Keaton, I don't know how you would have made Beetlejuice the character more palatable. Michael Keaton certainly wasn't doing it, but a lot of the casting was really good. Specifically, Jeffrey Jones and Catherine O'Hara.
I liked her. I didn't like him.
Right,
And there's always
okay.
a black cloud over him about all the things that came out about him later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like Catherine O'Hara. She's very rarely bad in anything that she does.
She's
Yeah,
great
very
at what
true.
she does,
yeah.
which is irritate the tits off of anyone.
Yeah, and she's great in it. She
Yeah.
just delivers.
I think she's really good in it. I think she's good in a lot of other movies.
Yeah.
This was Tim Burton's second feature film.
Yeah.
See, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
that
first
he-
one was
that he
Pee
got
Wee's
that.
Big
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 Adventure.
Adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he'd done a whole bunch of shorts, but yeah.
Still, this is still
Big
quite a
risk.
gamble.
Oh,
yeah.
This would have been his first studio project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Adam,
And they've
seeing
basically
as-
gone to him. Sorry.
No, carry
I'd
on.
say they basically just gone to him. What do you want to do? And he
Yeah,
went,
they,
"Okay,
it seems
this,
like they
I guess.
definitely did. I was just going to say, Adam, you seem to be the only person that's got mixed, so therefore slightly positive things to say about this film. So, what was your favourite moment?
My favourite moment was any of the interesting character design that Tim Burton got to do with the lead couple, Alec and Gina, where they would morph their faces, they would, pull their noses out, pull their eyeballs out. Anything that he got to do with designing any of the dead characters in the waiting room,
Yeah.
or even Juno smoking with a slit throat. I thought, oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at
That's very often a high point of a Tim Burton film. Is
Yeah.
that kind of design.
Yeah.
that. But I think that's the peak of his design.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll go further through it, and even Frankenweenie is just Alec Baldwin's face when he pulls it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Tim Burton able to turn all the sketches he did as a troubled kid into a feature film.
Yeah.
And I do, as previously mentioned earlier, I like the fact that it's a sort of reverse exorcism movie. And I like some of the performances. I like Gina Davis in it.
Yeah, I think Gina Davis is really good in it.
My first Gina Davis note is, boy, that's a lot of hair on Gina Davis. Because I'm used to seeing her in things like Long Kiss Goodnight or Stuart Little, where in here she looks like Kate Bush in a Laura Ashley dress.
Yeah. I think she looks great. That's kind of it.
That's it. We've run out.
The
Okay.
plot feels very, very, very thin.
Okay, Kieran, how about you? What's your favourite moment? Can you find one?
I do have positive things to say about this.
Okay,
So
go.
Adam is right. It's the production design is very good. The character design is very good. I like things he was talking about, like the where they try to make their faces freakish. I got laughs out of it. So when the death scene for Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, where they career off the road and they go through one of those covered bridges, and their car is dangling over a very, very shallow river. I'm pretty sure they would have been fine.
Yeah.
They could have got out. And the only thing stopping them dropping into the river is a small
little
dog
dog.
standing on the other end of the plank. That made me laugh quite a lot. I liked there was a line later on where it's established that the human characters can't see them now they're dead, and they're trying to scare them to get them out of the house. So they put sheets on and discover they can be seen when they're wearing the sheets. And there's a little exchange where Davis says, "Is this what we're reduced to, sheets?" And Baldwin replies, "Think of them as death shrouds, honey." That made me laugh quite a lot. And the little detail of them... Beetlejuice appears in the cemetery of a model that Baldwin's character has been making, a model of the town.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice appears in the cemetery. They get zapped into the model, into the cemetery, and dig him out of his grave. And I love that what they were digging through was cardboard and polystyrene.
What the model's actually made of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
rather than
that
it
was
being
really nice
it being earth underneath it.
Yeah.
That was very good. We have got through all the positive things I have to say about this film.
Okay,
Great.
moving swiftly on. Tom.
One of this, I think the element of it in the scene that I liked most, I also have a really massive problem with as well.
Oh, I do have one other positive thing, but go ahead.
Oh, great.
Go.
So what I liked was when they go into the waiting room and the sort of the DMV of the dead, if you like, and they have to interact with all the bureaucracy.
That's the worst George Romero film ever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I loved just like that concept of that kind of bureaucratic office. And that people had to go and sit in the waiting room, and there's a huge long queue, and it was like that kind of thing. The big problem I have with it is that the setup being that the only people that are condemned to work there are people who have committed suicide.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of like, that's a really, like, I don't know, that's saying something about people who commit suicide,
Yeah,
which
I
I
didn't
don't
like that
think
either.
is very
I think
good.
it's along the lines, it's a softened version of the Catholic version of
Yeah.
if you kill yourself, you're not going to heaven.
You're going
Yeah.
to purgatory.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally get that. But I think it kind of comes across nowadays as being, because I think people who commit suicide today are seen more as people that are suffering from mental health problems, as
They're
opposed
victims
to
of a disease.
Exactly, yeah. And I think because we look at it in that way now, that makes those things very problematic.
Yeah, I
and
find that uncomfortable to
very uncomfortable.
watch, really.
But by the same token, the design of that and the concept of it, if those people weren't, victims of suicide, then like that, I think was probably the most interesting thing about the whole film, was just that concept of that thing. And it's almost kind of like, if that had been a short film, that would have been great, and I could have just not done with the rest of it.
Yeah, Admin of the Dead
Okay.
is a good short concept,
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. Kieran, what was the other thing you were going to say?
I can see how this made a star of Winona Ryder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
Yeah.
was
sure.
she was cast for the right reasons, I think, and she was working hard and was a high point of the film.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And-
think
Yeah.
she was really good in it.
Yeah.
It's not often
Good.
a child actor's the high point of a film.
No, exactly.
No, she was good in it.
I thought the female performances in Beetlejuice far overshadowed any of the male.
They absolutely
Yeah,
did.
absolutely.
You're
Yeah,
correct.
100%. Yeah, they really do. Really do. And I think it's because you've got one guy who's phoning it in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the other guy who's
who's smashing that
who's-
phone into the desk a la Ed Harris.
and he's struggling to rein it in. He's
Yeah.
like,
And then Jeffrey Jones, who's somewhere in the middle, who
Oh God.
he has a role that he's supposed to play, and he has this role that he put in any movie he's in that he's supposed to play. But in this film, he doesn't even have motivation to do it.
His character completely flips.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
first scene is, we've come out here to relax.
Yeah.
And then barely 30 minutes later, he's like, we can turn this place into an attraction.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense, does
Yeah.
it, as a
Yeah.
character?
The
Why?
whole, I have problems with the plot and story. Like, they said, Davis and Baldwin at the beginning are talking about their vacation. Their vacation plans appears to be, let's just stay at home.
Oh, they do make reference to that, though. They say that we're so glad that we decided to stay at home for our vacation. We can get everything done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I must have
That's kind
missed-
of why
I must have missed that
the,
bit.
the concept of
Yeah.
their vacation is the renovation of the house.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
fine.
they're really excited to get the house how they would like it.
I do wish there was some more chemistry there between those two.
Oh yeah, there's like
There's
nothing going on.
None.
Yeah, yeah. It's I think my favourite. Oh, I would struggle to pick a favourite moment. I like the waiting room, because I think visually it's quite interesting. But for me, the concept is I really like the concept
Yeah.
of the film, but I just don't really like the way it's
The
done.
poor the execution.
The execution,
Wasn't,
yeah. But I think that's probably the favourite element of the whole film for me is probably the concept.
Yeah, I can see that. Like I say, it's all of these little things. Like if you just have the one-liners of the concept or the production design or
Yeah.
the cast list even,
Yeah.
without thinking of the performances.
Oh, on paper?
On paper, like if
Yeah,
you
it
said
all
all of those
works.
things, you'd be like, "Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah.
a great idea." And
Well,
then when-
this
and
was
then-
one of the reasons I was interested to watch it. Like, on paper, it seems like a
It's
good
like
idea.
Yeah,
And then an hour in,
not so much.
it was less good than I
So
had hoped.
favourite characters, favourite performances. What are everyone's thoughts?
I think Michael Keaton goes to the bottom of the pile and is everybody's least favourite performance, right? I hope I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth here. Although, is he tied with the apathy of Baldwin for you,
He's
Adam? I heard that intake of breath.
Beetlejuice, the character, is the least palatable part of this film.
yeah.
That's always annoying when, like, the alleged focal point,
Yeah.
titular
who doesn't
character.
turn up for over an hour properly.
Yeah, he's in
like 17 minutes, I think it is. It's under 25 minutes of
Yeah.
the film
yeah.
that he's in.
Which
The
is-
Donald Pleasance of this
Yeah,
movie.
you barely see him for the longest time.
Yeah.
And by the time he shows up, you really wish he'd go away again because
I actually think that when Keaton's doing, I mean, these are like fleetingly tiny moments of the subtler parts of the performance of Beetlejuice. He does it really, really well.
yeah.
But the trouble is, the majority of the time, he's
Is
over the
so
top.
over the
He's
top,
either
yeah.
over the top or is very. There's a lot of inappropriate kind of sexual connotations to what he's doing or what he's saying, which apparently was comedy in the 80s.
Well, we were talking about Tim Burton's first movie, and it's just occurred to me he's kind of playing Pee-wee.
like an
Never seen
evil version.
No, I've
Yeah.
not seen it either.
I've never seen it. I know of the character. I've never actually seen.
Just completely off the wall,
Yeah.
manic, zany character.
But just like in a horror context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Pee-wee was slightly horrific.
Well, yeah, but you know.
But yeah, it's just so much acting.
And only 17 minutes of it.
And
I
only
know.
70. Yeah, I mean, he you
So
know,
it could have been worse. It
It
could have been
could
more.
definitely could have been
he
worse.
earns his paycheck.
Yeah, he was on set for 2 weeks filming. That was it.
And they only got 17 minutes out of
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But who is the best performance?
Yeah.
You asked. That's a
did.
great
Favourite-
question for me.
Yeah, favourite character or performance.
It could be Winona Ryder's.
Yeah.
Essentially playing female Tim Burton
Yeah.
as the weird little kid who likes
though-
dead things.
Though I thought it was quite shocking when she was planning on killing herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a weird tonal point
That
Yeah.
might have been the part I fell asleep.
where she tries to go and kill herself before Gina Davis stops her.
Yeah.
I think the relationship between Lydia, between Winona Ryder and Gina Davis in this film, that's the love story. of this film, which is, you know.
Yeah, for me,
it's
that's
the
the
high point of the
relationship
film.
that you pay the most attention to and that you're the most invested in.
Yeah, because
a girl finds parents.
Yes,
Yeah.
but also parents find a girl because
Yeah,
I think
because there's a reference,
there is a
isn't there,
reference to the fact that they
at the
can't have
beginning.
children.
Yeah.
So like they're
Yes, they talk about trying again during the vacation. don't they?
Exactly. Yeah,
and
so-
the estate agent's like, why are you in this big house?
Yeah,
But I also can't believe that those two have ever had sex.
Yeah, because there's no chemistry there at all. I mean, they're both beautiful people. You know,
That's why they were cast.
They're Hollywood's
Yeah.
best looking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
their relationship isn't really believable, is it?
yeah. So I think you're right that it is that the love story is, you know, child finds parents, parents find a child, but it's so buried.
Yeah. You have to be really
Yeah,
focused on actually wanting to watch the movie or having a reason to watch the
but
movie.
like we said, you know, those moments are so fleeting
Yeah.
where they
Yes.
acknowledge those things, and it's so buried in all of the crazy stuff.
The irritants that the film flings at you, like, who's the guy? Otho?
Yeah, Otho.
He's
yeah.
he might be the worst.
I couldn't
actually.
remember the character's name. I just called him the fat gay.
Yeah. He might be. Is he more annoying than Beetlejuice? He was certainly very annoying.
Right, I had a big problem at the end of the film where Beetlejuice is running around and like doing things to people to like, essentially fight them. So he puts the zipper on Gina Davis's mouth, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Otho gets up and he's going to run away. And Beetlejuice
Changes his outfit.
telekinetically rips his suit off, revealing a second suit underneath. And I'm like, what's so scary for him about that happening? You're still wearing a suit. I get the feeling it was supposed to be stripped to his underwear, but somebody chickened out somewhere. That's the only thing I can think that joke was supposed to be.
I think it's supposed to be style.
It's
Yes,
style,
they
'cause
put
it's
him in a
track-
tacky suit.
It's
But he
a tacky tracksuit.
He didn't look that bad. He didn't look any worse than he did in the rest of the crap he wears during this film.
No, but I think
I
it's his own personal aesthetic. Isn't
Yeah.
it? That's his version of a nightmare.
Yeah.
So, Tom, do you have a favourite character or a favourite performance in this movie?
I think that for me, you're right about the whole Gina Davis Winona Ryder thing. I think that Gina Davis edges it for me.
Yeah.
Because I think that Winona Ryder was slightly more stereotypical in her role, and then I mean it went on to do more roles like that, and probably got a little bit typecast as that person.
She's just a Wednesday Addams, isn't she?
Exactly, yeah. So I kind of felt that Gina Davis, like, she actually seemed to care and to try and give her character a bit more kind of weight and you know, she was working hard against Alec Baldwin because he really wasn't helping.
I don't understand what was going on with Alec Baldwin in this film. He's a good actor. I've seen him put in some solid performances, some great roles. You know, this is the guy that, you know, got awards nominations for walk-on parts. And in this film, he is just reciting a script.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kieran, how about you? What was your favourite performance or favourite character?
Oh, God.
Go on, Kieran.
Come on.
I
you
think
can find one.
I'll go with the catch-all we went with earlier, that the female performances are better than the male ones. I didn't have a favourite. I tuned out of this.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fair.
the women were decent, the guys weren't.
Okay. Yeah, I think, well, from what I've said, is for me it was the relationship between Winona Ryder and Gina Davis. I think I would probably agree with you, Tom. I think Gina Davis is a little bit more. It's more interesting.
Yeah, a bit more rounded.
Yeah,
But she's also much more experienced.
than the
obviously.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true. That is true.
Very
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
So what's the question I've got written down is what's odd about this film?
Everything.
Everything is probably the best answer.
Yeah.
Tom.
I mean, it's one of those things now. I think what's interesting looking back on it is that society's changed quite a lot. So there are things here that are used to comedic effect that don't work anymore. There are things that are used that are subject matters that are possibly covered in not a dismissive way necessarily, but in quite a brief way that
More understood today, perhaps.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I think that's
Yeah, I think
exactly
that's-
it. And
that's a good-
so I
good
think
way to phrase it.
when you're watching it back, I don't know. Sometimes it's difficult to put yourself back in that mindset of watching a movie from that era. But I think it's made more difficult with this specifically, because I mean you can do that if you're watching like, you know, a movie from the 50s or whatever, and you know, like perhaps your lead character is racist because that's how people were then. It's a lot easier to kind of understand that than when you're going into this.
It's a movie from your lifetime.
That's true. Yeah,
and
yeah,
I don't think you appreciate how much has changed during your socially has changed during your lifetime.
Yeah. And so I think that's what makes it problematic, is because it's like we've said. You've got all of those things that should make it so great. You've got the fact that it actually got made, that it's different and it's out there. It just kind of, unfortunately, like all of this stuff doesn't knit together, and it just doesn't. I don't know. That's in a way, it's a real shame that it doesn't.
Yeah, because it could have been. I feel like it could have been great.
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely wanted it to work.
Yeah,
absolutely. And like I said, for the first hour, I was following along, and with Minor Niggles was just, you know, following along, but then after that it just kind
loses.
My line is, I've got to the Deo scene and I think I hate this film, like where suddenly everybody's possessed around the dinner table.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that went on forever.
Yeah, it was too long, that scene. Kieran.
Yes.
What is odd about this film, or has Tom kind of covered all of our thoughts?
Tom's kind of covered what's odd about. No, actually, what's odd about it is why is Winona Ryder given a skeleton key to the house, but then still needs a screwdriver to bash open the door to the attic that she could have just unlocked with the key?
Don't they try? I think they do something to
hold it shut.
They hold it shut, yeah, and they put a stick in to poke the key out from the other side. Yeah. She then goes back after they are long gone and doesn't try the key again. Which initially she also holds upside down to the lock. I've since discovered that Americans don't know what chub locks are, that style of lock that we have here.
Okay.
Yeah. Those old style locks. I'm just picking on stuff.
That's fine.
I can't. What's odd about this film is Catherine O'Hara's headband in the Chinese food scene, just a pair of gloves tied around her head.
Well, you notice she wears a sweater as trousers as well.
Yeah.
So like her whole thing is that she will like...
dresses like a weirdo.
Yeah, that's also, isn't it?
Yeah,
she's an artist.
She's
a bad
artist. She is.
Part of this set that it's all style over function.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Adam, how about you? Anything that really didn't work or that was very odd?
Anything else you want to dunk on?
Anything else, I should say.
I touched on it before, but the weird thing about this film is that for how thought out it was, I almost said how well thought out it was, but for how thought out it was, this story makes no sense. There are no stakes. Beetlejuice at the end has to get married
for some reason.
Why?
It's like a flippant
they
comment.
Just invent
it's not addressed. Yeah.
They just invent it. It seems the plot seems ad-libbed.
Or added in reshoots after the first cut made no sense.
Yeah,
and
because it
badly.
Still makes no sense.
It's one of those. You're right. It does feel ad-libbed, but then you're like, but they went so far with all the production.
Exactly.
Like it can't have been.
It was a well-designed film.
Yeah, but what I mean is like just the significance of how the interplay between the props and the sets and all that kind of stuff. All that work is put in, so therefore,
you cannot ad-lib that.
You can't ad-lib that stuff. So it must have all been there. You know,
it must have been written, but no one ever thought to think, hey, what if Juno tells the couple what happens if Beetlejuice gets let out? What if it ends the world?
Yeah.
Other than him being very annoying, could he go beyond the bounds of the house? I know they couldn't, as the spirits who died there, but other than him being an incredibly annoying house guest,
who likely could have killed the humans in the house. You said you missed out where Jeffrey Jones gets a plaster on his head. He gets dropped from the top floor down the stairwell.
Oh, I totally missed that.
Yeah.
I must have fallen asleep.
Beetlejuice turns into a giant snake.
I saw the snake.
And picks him up and just throws him.
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember
so he does have a threat value, a physical threat value.
Yeah.
But hang on, to my knowledge, and again I may have fallen asleep, that whole snake thing happens during a period where he hasn't been called. So he should have no.
He breaks his own rules all the time.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
They have to dig him up from the model town, despite the fact that previously he's just walking around the model town.
Yeah, it just... This is, you
He
will
has
find
his own strip club.
Yeah, you will already know, due to us knowing each other for a while, but our listeners will find out over the course of this podcast that storytelling breaking its own rules is something that really, really winds me up.
It's
Stick
annoying
within the
though.
rules of
Like
your
it doesn't
universe.
make you said at the very beginning, Adam. One of the most annoying things about this is that there's no stakes. Like it's you're not really invested because nothing's gonna happen.
I didn't want Gina Davis to die.
Okay.
But Alec Baldwin, the hell with him.
But it never explained why... Well, no, absolutely not. But it never explained why both those spells was killing them. That was never explained.
No.
They just
Started
were
decomposing for some reason.
teleported to a place, and then they started dying. Like dying.
Yeah.
Dying squared.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because is that when they're walking around with after they've gone to the waiting room? Don't they talk about they walk past like a ghost that looks like that,
there's
and
like
that's the exorcism of the dead from the house, isn't that?
Yeah, they go through the corridor and there are different things, and they were like, and they think it's like they're the lost souls.
The lost souls.
Yeah.
So they're so yeah. He's the
So they're
thing.
being
He's
exercised.
Yeah.
essentially, yeah. But then they can't go anywhere else, so they become lost souls in this room. So they're almost like ghosts of ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they wouldn't ever get
So
to go
something
back
that would
and
have
stay
been
in
better
their house.
explained by them having an actual exorcist and an actual exorcism rather than just,
Yeah.
quote, the fat gay reading a poem.
And then they ask him, like, why is this happening? And he's like, don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like,
No
okay,
idea.
great.
It's funny because when we talk about exorcism, when we watched The Exorcist, we were like, everything works in the room with the exorcism, and you believe it because there's so much time setting up that world and the realism.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And like you say, it doesn't break any of the rules of that world.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And this
Sets
does
up a whole
come-
lot of stuff and then just breaks all the rules.
exactly, and because it's maniacal and breaks the rules, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I think it
Messy.
hopes you'll forget.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
and there's it's such a
You'll be-
blasé comment
Yeah.
that it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, like you say, they just weren't paying attention when we
Yeah.
showed that bit of the film.
Oh,
and they'll
you'll be
forget.
so entertained by Michael Keaton being Mad
Yeah.
Cat that you won't notice that it makes no sense.
Yeah. I feel
Unfortunately, 4 people noticed that it made no
well,
sense.
I think a lot more than 4 people noticed that. But
4 people with microphones
Yeah.
and a position on iTunes noticed it made no sense.
I did feel like if Gina Davis and, yes, Alec Baldwin had died in the exorcism scene, that Winona Ryder would have killed herself.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think you're right.
I had some stakes there.
Yeah, but
That was it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the film.
Yeah.
Like, and that's
It's too
the
little
only
too late.
thing. It is a little bit too little too late if you've watched the whole film and you're like, okay, I'm kind of done now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need this to keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that it kind of like... Yeah, it glosses over so many serious issues that it could have addressed
Mhm.
in an actually engaging way.
Yeah.
And it just, it's just a mess of a film.
Yeah. So on that note, the mess of the film, is there anything that is still good? Or does it still hold up in any way as a film?
I'm going to excuse myself from this conversation.
Okay. See you later, Kieran.
Bye, Kieran.
Insert door slam noise.
The production design, as deliberately lo-fi as it was, I wouldn't mind seeing another production.
Yeah, okay.
Well, that's pretty much most Tim Burton.
Tim Burton,
movies.
yeah.
Well, yes. Except, he does a lot of CGI now.
Mm.
A lot of CG with the Alice in Wonderland stuff
Yeah,
that looks
that's a bit too much.
dreadful.
Well, where you can see it is in the Henry Selick animation. Sorry, door opening noise. Henry Selick is the guy who did the stop motion stuff, and he then did The Nightmare Before Christmas and
Yeah.
Corpse Bride. And then that has then continued into the Leica films. So it's stuff like Paranorman,
Yeah.
which is a great film and definitely carries on the stop motion tradition.
Kubo and the Two Strings,
Yep.
which I really enjoyed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where you can see the through line of this,
Yeah.
of that kind of design now, and its evolution, if you like.
Yeah. That I really did like about the film, and the female performances
Okay.
are also welcome in any other film.
Great. Kieran, whilst you're back in the room,
Hello.
is there anything, can you find something that is still good or that you liked? Or that holds up?
Only the stuff I've talked about
Okay.
and we've talked about in general. The few little lines I liked, the few little touches
Yeah,
I liked,
here and there.
the design things, as Adam said, the female performances. Overall, I'd be quite happy never seeing anything from this film again.
Okay.
The action figures were pretty dope, though.
There was a cartoon spin-off.
There was.
There was.
Really?
It definitely wasn't
Oh, I
voiced by
completely
Michael
missed
Keaton.
No.
There was a cartoon spin-off, and I have a vague memory of that. But I think, having not seen the film, I didn't really pay it much attention.
No. I think for me, the only thing I can take away is that it's good that it got made,
Okay.
because it was at a time when people were willing to spend money on creativity and originality.
Yeah.
And I think that it's not our cup of tea, but there are people that absolutely love this movie.
Absolutely.
It did really well. Because
Yeah.
I was going to jump in and say that it's bad that it got made because it was a bad movie and therefore it punished people for taking the risks. But in fact, it made a lot of money.
Yeah.
So,
It's
positive reinforcement there.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. It's just like, sometimes when you watch these movies like that, you're just like, this just isn't for me. But I can appreciate that other people really like it, and
Yeah.
I think we're in a situation now where most money in film goes on what people know is going to make more money, and it's like I can't imagine anyone giving this movie more than $1 million or $1.5 million if someone pitched it now. Like I don't think anyone could raise the budget to do it in this way now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's good because it exists.
Particularly
in
not
that
someone with the
sense.
track record that Tim
Yes.
Burton had
Yeah,
at
Yeah,
the time.
that's
that's exactly what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I
if all
think
the pieces were exactly the same,
yeah,
like a director on his second film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Just
mean,
wouldn't happen.
I wish that the decision makers still thought the way they did that meant this film
Nowadays.
got made.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll probably never watch it again.
So, yeah, I wouldn't watch it again either. Sorry. I have a quick question for you all. So, the other actors that were considered for playing the role of Beetlejuice, given that we don't love Michael Keaton's performance,
Oh, we don't love it. Yeah.
Robin Williams, Christopher Lloyd, Jim Carrey, Tim Curry, Jack Nicholson, and Bill Murray. Who would be your Beetlejuice?
Bill Murray.
Oh, okay, that was quick.
Yeah,
Out
just
of that
because
lot?
he'd do it softer. He'd do it softer than the rest of them.
He would.
Everyone else is trying to find out the spiky edges,
Yeah,
but Bill Murray would. He would deliver the softest Beetlejuice.
Okay.
yeah,
Kieran?
because he
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
do zany.
He doesn't do
Particularly-
zany. He doesn't do rapey.
Yeah.
He'll do zany in bursts, so it'll be for a line,
Yeah.
not a whole performance.
But then, based
Yes.
on what Tom was saying, like, you liked the parts where it was reined in,
Yes.
and if there had been more of that with the odd zany
Yeah, it might work better.
section,
Yeah.
maybe that would
Yeah,
have
it
been
may have
a
worked.
better delivery.
Yeah. I certainly think Jim Carrey would have been awful.
It would have been The Mask.
Jack.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson
Would
would
have
have
got
been
to do
over
this the
not
very
work.
next year when he
Yeah.
played the Joker in a Tim
Exactly.
Burton movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty much everyone else. Like Christopher Lloyd, who we saw as Judge Doom.
Yeah.
And he's just crazy over the top as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, I can see.
I can imagine Robin Williams being insufferable in this role.
Yeah, that would have
Yeah.
been a mistake.
Yeah, and given what he, the amazing performances that he went on to put in his career,
Yeah.
like it.
Could have been damaging.
It would be
yeah.
the genie, but turned up to
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
111.
Yeah. Yeah. So although I find Bill Murray a bit hit and miss, I think I would concur that he out of that list,
Yeah.
he probably would have given the performance that I would have enjoyed the most.
Okay. I just thought I'd ask because it was a interesting
It's a hell of a list of names.
concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't
But
it?
what we're really after in the Beetlejuice role is nuance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood.
No, I don't think so.
Is there anything that anybody wants to add that we've not discussed? I'm totally out on my notes.
Oh, I
and-
think
Yeah,
I've
me
stamped
too.
on this film enough,
Yeah.
don't you?
Yeah.
It's time for Adam's bullet
Someone's
points.
picked up their notepad, everyone.
Okay.
There is one thing that this film has spawned that I do like.
Yeah, I've got one.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
And it's a joke from the TV show Community, which they set up over 3 seasons. In season 1, somebody says the word Beetlejuice. In season 2, somebody says the word Beetlejuice. And in season 3, somebody says the word Beetlejuice and it appears in a window for a second.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's really
That's
good.
nice. Okay. Adam, what was your last thing?
Danny Elfman, chill out.
Oh, God. Music composed by Danny Elfman. Right,
Yeah.
I wrote this note at the beginning. Music composed by Danny Elfman. No shit, this is maximum Elfman.
It's the most Elfman I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. Like, Elfman has a particular style, the plinky plonky style of Danny Elfman. He
Yeah.
can't do
I think
anything
The
else.
Simpsons.
Plinky Plonky is
Yeah.
accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, he's turned all the way up.
His hands are on fire for the duration of this movie, and he needs to stop.
Wow. And on that note, I think we're probably going to stop.
Alrighty.
So, this podcast was recorded in the Upbeat Studio in Soho. For studio inquiries, drop us an email on studio@upbeatproductions.com. You can also find us on Twitter. Head over to @UpbeatProd to see what we're up to, and @upbeat_ents for our film coverage and entertainment news. Next week, we are going to be... Well, I'll pass it over.
Next week, we are going right back for the 65th anniversary of Jason the Argonauts, Mechanical Owls at the Ready.
Nice.
Great. Well, that's bye from us for today then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.